Hello, welcome. Well, let's get this cooking here, right? Yeah, what is that? Oh, that's just some dust. Okay. And how do I look right now? I'm gonna got this bright light over here. We'll turn that out of the way. All right, I got a little purple haze on my face. Well, my name is Kurt, and I'm. Wait, let's start all over. My name is Kurt, and I'm a dad who draws, and this is our Wednesday night live drawing tutorial. We come every night. I come every Wednesday night, and we typically on Wednesday nights look at how to draw a portrait in Procreate. Procreate is a drawing program for the iPad. It's the easiest program that I have that I can show everyone how to draw through the internet. But I have grown to really like it even more than Photoshop. So, anyhow, this is our Wednesday night live. We also have a Monday night live where we will draw a landscape or something to do with architecture or something to do with usually outdoors in a sense, natural settings. But on Wednesdays, we usually do a portrait, but our Facebook group has asked that we would take a look at character design. So this is week 2 of a series of characters that we're drawing. Last week we drew a lovely woman who was working so hard, and that turned out quite nice. So we're going to break it up today and draw this older fisherman down by the sea. So there's a lot going on in this, but I think if we work together, we can really come up with something and learn something while we're at it, because that's what we're here to do, right? We are to learn. So anyhow, let's get into it right now. Couple things on this immediately that I notice is that this is, of course, it was a black and white photo from a while ago, and the background isn't really helping us this time because the man is blending right in the background, meaning that there is a lot of contrast going on in the background, so it's competing. So we're going to try and probably darken the background down just a little bit, but we'll wait till we get into it so that we can get a better idea of how to do it. A couple things from our drawing last week. I noticed that a lot of people had drawn their heads. I just thought of something. I was going to do something else here. Wait, I got to do something here. That we had one of our students, Patty, asked us to take a look at her drawing and fix something. So I told her that we would do that. So let me bring this up here, her drawing, because this actually is a great lesson that we all can learn. So let's bring this up here and take a look at it. There it is. Okay. So let's do this. Let us bring this up. Insert a photo. So let's do this first, okay? And then we will get to our man here, our fisherman, right? So in alpha, what am I looking for here? Mask. All right, here we go. Okay. Excellent. Okay, so Patty's question this morning was, how in the world can she make our tunnel? This actually was from last week. And I wonder if I have the photo I could even show you here. Yeah, here, this is good. Okay, so this was our photo from last week. And let's just move her drawing over just a little bit. And she was asking, how can she make the how can she make this tunnel not from looking so flat? And I see I see exactly what she means by it. It has a very, she said, it looks like to her it's a flat horseshoe shape. And I could see something that we could do immediately. And a lot of times when we are drawing things, we have to look closely. We have to look closely at what we see. And so I usually say, trust what you see, not what you think. And our mind likes to tell us what we're seeing without actually seeing it. So in this case, she has filled this totally in with a dark value. It's very flat looking because it's just a shape. But if you look closely at our picture here, I'm going to bring it up a little bit and hopefully you could see it. But there is a lot of dimension inside of this picture, and I'm going to hopefully bring some of this into her drawing here. So first thing I think she could do is sharpen up. Let's just sharpen up. Let's bring this up there, and we're going to change that to multiply. Okay. First thing I think she could do is sharpen up the edges. Oh, that's too dark now. All right. First thing she could do is sharpen up the edges. So let's first come in here like this. When we have an object that is flat, we need to go back in and add some type of detail into it. And that will really help to break up the flat object. So let's just bring in this darker color here. And I can already see that this is helping already by breaking up that dark shape, okay? So we take a darker shape and we add more detail. The other thing too is that she's got going here, she has established that this is going to be her these perspectives. So let's add some surface lines, and that will help us even more tell the story. Adding a little bit of detail here. This is nice. I like that. So what I would do, Patty, next time you have a situation where you're trying to break up a shape, just go back into it. Go back into that shape that you have and just keep asking yourself, wow, what can I add here that would add some detail? You see that? Let's get some ground. I'm going to add some surface lines to your ground plane here. And also, I'm going to darken it in just a little bit more toward the back here. That will help to create some contrast and take a very flat form and give it some detail. Look at this. Let's add some of these bricks that are coming around here, right? So okay, I'm gonna it brings up the idea a lot of times that we need to go into our values and just add more detail, add more variation of value. Let's see if we can get some darker. Okay, there you go. I think we got that there, huh? So let's see what we were at first off here. Let's just do this, huh? Yeah, so we went from that to that. Ooh, actually, I don't like that at all. That's too dark. There you go. That looks much more. That looks much more appropriate. Anyways, so there you go. And this should. So just go into those larger shapes that you have, and you want to just add more detail. That will help to break up that flat shape. All right. Okay. Now let's get back to our gentleman here. I'm gonna take those away. Okay. So one of the things I want to talk about before we get into them is just talking about gesture drawing. And when we approach a character or any type of human being, especially a human being, we want to get familiar with them. So with this, watch what I'm going to do here. I'm going to make this small here, and I'm going to quickly draw some gestures. So usually when I'm drawing a gesture, a lot of times I like to think of like from the inside out. So for example, let's just draw a big gesture here. I'm just going to get some type of action line. And then I'm just looking at his core almost, okay? And his core is his upper and lower torso. You see that? All right. And then I see him coming down with a knee. Okay, and I'm kind of roughly looking at that proportion there. What I'm looking for things that line up to the relationship between these 2 feet. Okay. His hand coming down. Where's his head here? Let's just have fun and do something like that. And then his hand. Oop, there's his hand right there maybe. Other hand is over here. Okay, that's not too bad of a gesture. All right, let's draw another one. And oh, Kurt. I drew this on the same layer. Hold on. Let's just erase that off there. Oh, the fun. Oh boy. Okay, let's just make that a little bit smaller there. Okay, that's better. And then let's come back over here and make sure we erase all that. Okay, now I'm going to be a little bit more careful when I'm drawing on what layer. Okay, so look, I got my little guy there. All right, so let's push ourselves. Now, let's try drawing the head first. Okay, just for fun, and I'm going to put a rough outline. I'm not really worried about whether it's lining up, but let's just go crazy here. Let's see. All right, let's just say if it's just not. This is a gesture drawing, so. So this is going to come down here, great, and this is going to come out here. Just keep it loose. Keep it loose, all right? So it's okay if it's not exactly accurate. All we're doing here is just trying to get a feel for what we're doing. So there's another one. Let's do another one. All right, and I'm gonna, let's see here. Now, what can we do? Let's just say this guy was really leaning over here. Oh, he he had a bad fish or something, right? Oop. Look at that. I got my page there messed up a little bit, but it's okay. All right. All right, so now I'm going to just kind of gesture some parts of his body here. So look, there's a strong back angle here of his back. Remember we talked about last week, we talked about this idea of straight versus curve. So his back is pretty straight. This inside there is overlapping. And let's put his head in here. And just all we're looking for is trying to get the shape of it. We're not interested in the 3D form yet. And so his left side is a straight. You see that? And then he's looking at a 3/4 view. So we do not, be careful, don't draw his nose dead center, but shift it. Shift it to the left just a little bit, okay? And I'm just quickly filling in some value here. He's got this great hat going here, okay? It's kind of dark in color. All right, so there we have that. And then look, the center part of his trousers comes up, of his top goes there. All right. Good. I'm going to move that a little bit smaller here. I think I'm going to move my photo now over here. And then we're going to do it another one. So all of this sketching, in a sense, is all of the sketching is helping to just warm us up to the picture. And my screen froze here, so let's see here. There we go. Okay, let's keep going now. So I'm going to continue to draw maybe one more quick sketch of our man here, all right? And as I'm doing this, I'm just thinking I am a ice skater coming along the plane. Look how high up his shoulder comes into his head. You see that? And then this lower part of his body comes way underneath his chin there. Got that? That's the center part. That will give us a real sense that he's leaning over. He's really leaning over here. Some of these wrinkles in his thing here, and this is an interesting idea. You want to be careful of this. When you get down to this pant leg, realize that his leg is toward the back of the pant leg, okay? You see that? His leg is to the back of the pant leg. All right? And his shoes are coming out here like this. This is coming around, shoulders coming around like this. You see that? All we're doing here is just quickly getting a bit of a gesture. Ay, caramba. What is the problem? Well, all right, looks like I'm really gonna have to pay attention here to make sure that we don't have any hiccups. All right, let's go ahead and you can take a look at this. So I've just did another gesture drawing really quickly, and now let's get into our actual drawing here. I'm going to erase all of these, and then let's open this up just a little bit so we have a little bit more breathing room, right? Okay, so let's start lightly. Let's make sure we draw lightly to begin with here. And I'm just going to do a very light gesture. What I'm trying to do here is establish where the bottom of my figure is going to be and where the top of them is going to be. Okay, let's go ahead now. I have just a quick little action line to give me an idea of where his figure is going to be. Now let's try and get into the core here. And as I look at this core, and I'm going to draw lightly, because I'll come back into it. This is going to be the back side, and he's kind of leaning in, and sometimes when we are drawing a core, you know, you may have heard of this idea of having a bean, a jelly bean type of idea. You see that? It's like a jelly bean. So he's definitely sitting there. And we're going to have the top of this. So this is going to have a little three-dimensional quality to it. We're going to have a leg coming out like this. You see this? And then the leg's going to come down, and one of the measuring things I'm using right now is I'm looking for this negative shape. You see this? That's what I'm looking for. Okay. So I want to try and match that shape on the inside. Of course, this is coming out just a little bit there. And then his boot. Now let's see. Now I'm looking at this, and I'm probably a little long there. Now his boot is coming around like this, and he's resting it. You see that? Look how far that pant leg is going out. Okay. Let's get the next one in here. Now let's look at this relationship here. His hand, where's his hand there? His hand is here. Okay. Really, as I'm doing this, what I'm thinking of is a lot of shape right now. And then a lot of times you could look at a person's cuffs, and that will help tell you what direction this arm is coming. And I will draw a little bit of a cylinder. You see that? Okay, then let's get into his, let's try and position his head nicely on this body here. So let's take a look at some guidelines. So as I'm looking at his body, this is what I see. I'm seeing like right here, you see this going on? I'm looking at that. Oh, look at that, it froze again. Oh, good, I caught that, man. Okay, here we go. Okay, I'm looking at this right here, and I could see that this angle of his head, I could see that this angle of his head is going in this direction. So when I draw that on my body here, I want to kind of put a guideline so I know about where his head is going to come forward there. And then another thing I notice is the back of his head and his shoulder. Look, his shoulder almost will bisect right through his nose, okay? So this is gonna help me, by looking at these different relationships, it's gonna help me to place that head nicely. So let's just kind of put something in like this. Okay, so if I'm gonna say that his nose is gonna be about right about there. And then we're gonna put his eyes in here. And then his head is gonna be here. Other side of his head. Have a little bit of an angle for his beard there. He's got this wonderful mustache. And I'm just going to put the shadow. I think, that might be a little too low there. The shadow of his lips right there. You see that? And then, of course, the shadow of his nose. And then let's drop some tone in for his eyes. And then he's got some hair here coming. I'm thinking a lot of times like I'm a sculptor. You know that? And I'm just taking away pieces of this form. All right, let's look closely at his hat here. Okay, and then we've got this other part that comes up like this. All right. And I may have, I'm always honest, but it looks like I've made the head a little too big. But you know, I'm gonna roll with it. So now that I have these general shapes and volumes, let's get rid of these. I'm going to start making my way across the form and start adding more detail. So the inside of his arm is more of a straight, you see that? His shoulder. And then right around here, look how this changes. And look at the, you want to look very closely here at his fabric, and look at the surface lines. And then his body, his backside actually is coming way behind here. You see that? What happens here now? Let's just slowly make our way down. I'm looking carefully. Now, let's not freak out about his hand, okay? Oh, it's a hand. How are we going to do that? But let's give it some consideration. I want to show you this here when you're drawing a hand, especially the backside. There's like, if you think of the hand in two parts, look, there's this part, you see this? And then there's this part, okay? If you can try and envision that, I think that will help tremendously. So let's draw those two parts. So I'm going to start at the bottom, get that angle. Okay, so there's the top part, and there's the bottom part. You see that? And then his pinky, and these don't have to be perfect. It's just a quick indication of where these things are going. Quick indication there. All right, let's get the back side of his trousers here. Okay. And then look at the front here. This is important where his knee is coming down. You see this? Look, it's kind of coming in like this, and then it comes back out. And we want to capture that. And then of course, look very closely at the cuffs of the bottom of the pant. You see that? It curves around, but yet it comes out from the back. You see what I just did there? And then his shoe. Wait, Patty, it's so hard to get the face right. How do you make the face look more shapely than just flat looking? Okay, Patty, that's a great question. Man, that's a great question. So let's take a look at that, okay? Right now. Let's move the face down here. And in another, just temporary, in another section of your drawing, or just in another area, let's look at that a little bit more closely. So what I want to do is try and I'm not going to worry about right now dimension, okay? I'm just looking for flat, all right? And then just, let's see, shapely, then just flat looking. Okay, all right, so let's get the shape first, all right? So let's just say we do this. This is going to circle around. I'm just working on the flatness, okay? I just want to get the shape. So there's our shape of our head, okay? Now, if I was to let's think about this for a minute. If I was to take the shape of a cube, how do I get this cube to look more with volume? Well, I'm really gonna use volume. I'm gonna use value to help establish that cube. Okay. The same thing goes with the face. So let's look at this. let's look at the value. Now, if I look closely at his head here. Oop. All right, if I look closely at the value of his head, I'm just going to erase this so that doesn't affect my little drawing right there. I can almost see like 3 different tones going on. Okay, so let's get his eye line in, and then let's again just drop in this nose here, and I'm going to make sure that the nose isn't dead center, but it's off a little bit. It's off a little bit to his right. This way, this will cause him to look off 3/4, okay? Still looking flat. Let's go ahead and tone in the bottom of his nose. All right, now immediately we're getting a little bit of volume with that nose. And let's also go into his eyes. And if we think of like this area of the eyes, almost like a superhero mask. So let's just tone in this little area of his eyes. Remember, we're like we're a sculptor, okay? And then the next thing we want to do to get some idea here is to get the barrel of the mouth. Now the barrel of the mouth comes right underneath the nose there. And you can kind of see it. You can see it by getting this tone right below his cheeks. You see that? And then this side of his head is also going to have some tone. You see that in his cheeks? So to answer your question specifically, how do we get dimension into his head? I think the best thing you could do is to start to practice drawing the planes of the face. And I'll tell you what, in the Facebook group tomorrow, I will post a picture of a sculpture that you can practice to get the planes of the face. And if you practice that over and over again, it will start to lock into place some of these things, okay? So let's go ahead now that we have that. Let's just kind of go back into detail here. Add some tone for his eyes. We could even add a little detail for his nose, his nostrils there. And then let's go ahead and put in this this mustache, okay? And I'm breaking it down into shape again, looking closely. And now let's put a little shadow down here where his mouth is going to go. And then I'm just going to use some smaller strokes to indicate where the top of that beard is. Still thinking of it as shape, but also thinking of where the volume is, and I can create that illusion with line and contrast. Let's get these ears in. Let's see. That ear lines up with the bottom of his nose to the top of his eye. Okay. And let's see here. He's had a hard road, this guy, huh? let's add just a little bit of value to the side of his nose there. Oh, you know what also he has? He's got these, let's give him a little more character here by giving these dark rings underneath underneath his eyes. He's like, oh gosh, it's been a long day. Who is this guy taking my photo? Little do I know that 100 years from now, some dad in Pennsylvania is going to be drawing this wearisome photo of myself. Okay, so now I'm going to move into his hat there on his head, and really all I'm looking at right now is the shape of the shadow, okay? Looking for the shape of the shadow. Okay. Now let's just keep looking at the way that this hat is constructed. Now I could come back in and see that there's a round. It's round here. You see that? And then the top part of the hat kind of comes up here, almost like a stovetop pipe. And now if I wince, this hat has a tone that's really different from the rest of his skin, and this is going to give me some contrast. Okay, Patty, did that answer your question? I hope it did. So, very similar to how we created that tunnel in your drawing to look deeper. We took a flat area and then just kind of went back into it and kept working it and working it. All right? So let's continue. This is a nice little head there I drew, and is it? Yes, exactly what I didn't want. So, I'm going to temporarily move that down here so you can reference it, okay? And I'm going to bring in that photo again. All right, let's continue now. All right, here we go. And I want to erase this. All right, let's continue now in our drawing of our larger version of the man here, okay? So we have, let's kind of come back over here, and I'm looking at these folds in his jacket. And then this is going to be a center line, okay? Get his collar in here, right? All these things add character. I'm adding my buttons here and giving like a little bit of a crease. You see that? Let's get this other arm in here now, okay? Look at this. I curved it, but it's really not that curved. You see that? You have to really look carefully. And this is really interesting. I can see I've made a mistake in that, and we're going to fix it right now. Look how close I have this knee in comparison to this arm. You see that? And look how close it is in the photo there. Look, here is the part of the knee, and look how far that is. So I really need to make that adjustment in my drawing. So this actually doesn't look too bad, but we really need to, I think, extend that leg out quite a bit more. There it is. Okay, let's just come in here now and get that cuff. There's this beautiful fold, and then he has this other fold coming right there in the corner. And then we've got these folds coming in, fanning out from the inside of his pant leg. You see that? Pant leg right here is in front of that arm, but let's look at this great shape back here. Let's put that in. That's going to help us define that that arm is going back in space. All right, now let's make sure when we put this foot down in the back, when we discuss this, we are going toward the back of the pant leg. Okay, how's that looking? Okay, I think we're doing okay there. And if I squint my eyes, this whole area here is going to be a little bit in shadow. And let's not forget this other hand here. Where is this other hand? So the first thing I see is his wrist is, it's going into, there's a it's circular toward the back because his sleeve is coming out here. You see that? And his arm is to the left of the sleeve. You see that? So we get this real nice straight going here. This is foreshortened, so it's coming at us a bit. Let's get that thumb in. And that finger is coming around like this. You see that? And there's another one right behind it. And he's got his pipe here. So let's do a detail of that hand real quick, because I've squeezed in a lot there. So there's his wrist. And all we're going to do is just think of like the outer angles right now. There's the top of his thumb, and you can see it's curving around like this. You can see this other finger is coming out like this. You see this? And then this is coming around to be his hand here. And his next knuckle is coming in there. And then he has another one that's way in the back there. You see that? And now he's holding his pipe. So pipe is simply like a cylinder. And his pipe is coming back in space there. Oops. All right. Now let's see if, and then this is then it's going to come back here like this, and this is going to be his sleeve. And then you could actually see a little bit of a shadow here with the underside of his hand. You see that? All right, let's keep going here. Let's get this next leg down. Get this next boot down, right? All right. And then we're going to add a little bit of tone in here for his right side of his pant leg. And his, let's add some tone also to his shirt back here. He's got a little button right there. And I'm going to move our head here of our guy. And we'll put him up here maybe. How about that? And I'm going to erase that bean behind there. Okay, sounds good. All right, let's keep going here. So now we've got some rocks. So let's get him down on the seashore here and get some rocks underneath him, okay? Again, I'm going to just to kind of draw this with a shape to begin with. And then I'm going to break my rock up with some surface lines. All right, surface lines for underneath here, and I'm going to keep it kind of light. You can see I just keep adding these boulders and shapes. And of course there's more in the background here, and I'm going to be careful because I don't want them to compete with him. Going to add just some objects down here. I don't know, they don't really have much meaning to me. Adding some tone, but one thing I definitely want to do is to go in here and I'm going to add a little bit of a thicker line. To help them stand off from the background just a little bit. Surface lines. Adding just enough detail so it looks like he's sitting on a rocky surface here. Man, I've done so much addition to this beard here that I've like, oh great, I've given him a dark colored beard, but you know, oh well, might as well go all the way, right? All right, so this is the younger version of himself. He's like, wow, I never looked that good. Oh boy. All right, so then let's come back in here, and I'm just going to, I think, add some tone in the background here. Try and separate him so it's not so white back here. And let the rocks have a little bit more brightness. I'm not going to color those in. Alright, let's tone this back a little bit to make his hand. Sometimes if you want a certain area to pop, like I kind of want his hand to show up a little bit more here. So what you want to do is to darken in everything else around it. This silhouette in his arm is nice here because it really separates that from the rest of his body. And I think we're done. I think I'm done from my standpoint here. Does anyone... That was a great question, Patty, you had earlier. Does anyone have any other questions before we call it a night here, huh? Any more questions? Nope. Okay, well, you know what? I think we're going to, I think I'm going to call it at that. Hope you like that, and yeah, we got our fisherman here, and we did a little detail of his head, and took a look closely at his hand there. So I am so glad that you all were tuned in tonight for our Wednesday Night Live. I'm Kurt. I'm a dad who draws, and that's it. Thanks for watching. Post your stuff into the community, into our Facebook group, so we could see what you're doing. Please, at the bottom of this, give a thumbs up and you know all that good stuff. A like. I appreciate it. And that's it. So thanks for watching. My name is Kurt. I'm a dad who draws. Oh, also, before we end here, there are links down in the description, and I'll put them also in the comments for the daily draw and the beginner's workshop. Okay? Thanks for watching. I'm Kurt, and I will see you tomorrow. All right. Great job, everyone. Bye-bye.